Hi, third graders. I was just sitting here thinking about all that we had learned about so far. I'm wondering if you found the perfect reading spot in your homes like we would at school. Did you find a place where you can concentrate, where you're comfortable, and where you can put your best foot forward? I hope so. I hope you're really thinking about all we've talked about for setting ourselves up for success. Today, we're going to learn another thing about setting ourselves up for success and improving with our reading. So, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. So, we're working on building a reading life here at Willow Lake with our third graders, with you all. And I have a fun fact to share with you. Did you know that there are real researchers whose job, their entire job, is to study how people get better at things? They spend all day studying how you get better at things. I wish I knew that secret. I do know that secret. They found, and I know, a surefire way to get better at something. I'm not sure if I want to tell you the secret or not. Just kidding. Of course, I want to tell you the secret. Today, I want to teach you that researchers have found if people want to get better at something, they should set clear goals. The secret to getting better at something is setting clear goals. That way we can track our progress, and we're going to talk all about that. I want you to think about, who do you know that sets goals like this? Who do we all know that sets goals like this? A runner keeps track of their time to get better. So a runner, or maybe if you're a runner yourself at recess even, you set a goal to get better and faster at running. Or a student, you all, sometimes keeps track of the words they can type per minute to see if they're getting faster when they're practicing their typing. We can probably think of a lot of people that set goals like this to get better, even if it's just for our everyday life. When people are trying to set goals, they don't just think about them in their heads, they have to track the data. And right here, you might have learned about this in math. Right here, we have some graphs and some charts about that data. I have a bar graph and a pie chart too. So this data, when we track it, lets us know where we're falling in regards to our goal, how close we're getting to our goal. It's important to do. I'm wondering if we ourselves do any sort of tracking, or if you can think of any tracking that we do already. Do you ever write down how your reading is going? I want you to think about it. Do we ever, you might say, log how our reading is going? You've got it, our reading logs. Our reading logs look different than these pie charts or bar graphs, but it's the same thing. Our reading logs are our data that we're collecting. When you're in the classroom, in the past, you've definitely had reading logs. And I bet you even remember writing down things like the title and maybe how many minutes you read for. Reading logs are a very common thing in the classroom. So again, how do people set these goals and see the difference? I want the secret, I have the secret, and I want to share the secret with you. Good readers track their progress and they log their progress with something like a reading log. And they always keep their goal in mind. There's this expression that says, keep your eye on the prize. And that means the same thing as keeping your goal in mind. Keep your eye on the prize. You want to think about your goal so that way, every day you're working towards it. We all set goals all the time, and we might not even know it. I would bet that you set a goal almost every day. People who play video games set goals, and then we can see if we're meeting those goals in a really easy way. If you've ever played a video game or ever heard about somebody playing a video game, or even if you've seen somebody play a video game on TV, you'll notice that people go up levels. Each level you go up is tracking how well you're doing, and that makes it really easy to set a goal. Other people who set goals, or other times we might set goals, is when we're doing art or when we're playing a sport. Again, with video games, it's really easy to see when we level up. We want to see when we level up with our reading as well. We can do that through reading logs. I mentioned it before. This is what a reading log might look like if you were in the classroom. We have the date, we have the title of our book and the author's last name. We have our reading level, that word level again. The page we start on, the page we end on, our start time, our end time, our minutes read, and then if we've read at home or school. Now, this is a really easy and clear way to collect that data. That level here is important. Your teachers have been doing what's called an F&P with you, so we get to know more about you as readers. That's not to stress you out, and that's not a test. It's so we can get to know you as a reader better, and so that we can see the right level for you. And then we can work towards moving you to the next level. Our levels that we use are based on the alphabet, so it's really easy to see when you move on to the next level. That makes it really easy to set goals as well. Now, looking at that data and zooming in is really important. It's really important to be looking at our start time for our reading and our end time for our reading. Also, how many pages we read during that time. Maybe one of our goals is that we want to read more pages during the time that we read. Or maybe we want to read more at home. Right now, you're all reading at home. But your goal could be that you're reading more than the teacher says you have to. You're reading for enjoyment. You're reading to your parents. You're reading to your family or your friends or even your dog. Or maybe your goal is that you want to read so much that you move up a level. You want to be able to read so much, but here you'll see it might be easy to get lost in that reading. Look at all these books. I don't want you to get lost in your reading. Just because we're trying to read harder books and we're trying to read more books doesn't mean that we can stop understanding what our books are about because we're trying to blow through. We want to take our time and really read for meaning while improving at the same time. Your teachers and I have a few goals to start you off with. I want you all to come up with your own goals, but we have a few that we want you to be thinking about as well as third graders. We'll call them our third grade goals. We're going to make these bookmarks later on to help you remember, but for now I'm going to tell you about them. It says reading fast, strong, and long. The first one, read with your eyes, not using your finger or a bookmark. Third graders don't need to follow along to every word with their finger. We want to practice using our eyes to follow along. Now, if you're still using your finger, that's okay. Don't be upset. Your goal is just working towards using your eyes. The second one, don't keep looking back. Again, if you're looking back right now, your goal is to stop and to work towards only focusing on the page we're reading and what has happened so far without having to go back and look. And the third one, which we can all work on always, is reading with expression. You want to add character and add life to your book, and we do that through reading with expression. If we're reading a happy book, we don't want to sound like a mope. We don't want to sound like a curmudgeon either. And if we're reading a sad book, it might not be appropriate for us to be happy. It might not make sense. We want to be thinking about reading with expression as well. So again, you'll get to make yourself a bookmark, but we're going to move on for now. Let's review what we've talked about so far. To make reading the best it can be, I will find a good reading spot, talk about books, choose books that you love, read books like they're gold and not like a curmudgeon, and check the books are just right within our reach. And we remember too that everybody's just right book is different. And our new one today, I study my reading patterns and set new goals. Right here, you'll see the reading log and a timer. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. So friends, it's kind of fun to set goals because when you reach that goal, it feels so good. I hope ideas are swirling in your mind of all the different goals that you might be able to set.